Let me start by telling you that the first 10 years of my career, I was a talk therapist, psychotherapist. And I would get nice results with people. I had fortunately been trained in hypnotherapy, so I was able to go a little deeper than the kind of standard cognitive behavioral approach, which was pretty popular back in the 80s. After 10 years, I discovered, there is something below the head. There's something below the mouth, and it's called the body. And there is so much wisdom. There is so much trauma. There is so much history in our body and consciousness in our bodies that is never dealt with at the talking level. And having discovered that there was a body, then of course I had to go back to school and learn how to work with it.
Yeah.
And after working a few years in the body, I discovered, oh my God, there is a spirit, and there is a spirit world that I know very little about, and I have to go discover how to tap into that, because the spirit, the body, and the mind are constantly working together in a hologram. They're a hologram, morphing and influencing each other. And if you really want to heal, you have to hit all three. You have to hit what's in the mind, what's in the emotions, what's in the body, what's in the ancestry, what's in the karma. All of those things need to be brought into a healing paradigm.
A lot of the work is helping people understand exactly what she said. Because everybody has feelings. They have reactions to situations. What do you do with that? If it's positive, then generally people want to celebrate. But what if it's not so positive? It doesn't necessarily have to be negative to be impactful on you. And I like to use the metaphor of the 5 sacred symbols. I learned this working with Angeles Arian. I love the spiral. And I tell people, life is a spiral. And even though you're coming back to a place and you go like, I thought I dealt with my mother. I thought I dealt with my whatever. The fact that you can recognize that you've been in this place before means you have some wisdom that now you can take into this next cycle around. And the cycle is always going. How are you processing it now? How is it moving through you now? How are you coming into relationship with it now? Do you have power over it? Or does it still have power over you? Are you still reacting from a place of wounding when this thing circulates around again? Or can you just look at it and say, I used to be there. I'm not there anymore. I remember what it was like shortly after my husband died and I was in the process of unraveling. It took me 3 years to be able to go back to work. And even when I thought I was ready to go back to work, I went to see the staff doctor for my employer, and they said, you're not coming back. We are not going to land a plane, do an emergency landing to take a flight attendant off. You are going to continue doing what you need to do, working with your psychiatrist, doing your work, and then we'll determine if you're ready to come back. Sometimes when you're in crisis, you need a fresh set of eyes. You need someone who has a different perspective that's looking for an imbalance that you've blinded yourself to. And even working with clients, sometimes in talking with them, I will just reach over and put my hand on their heart. And they'll start crying. And they'll be going, I don't know why I'm crying. Well, I know why you're crying, but you don't. And to connect them with that is to pull them back to their truth. And the work that we do, the work that all people who work with energy and sound and movement, it is to pull you back to the core of who you came here to be, not just who you were told you had to be or who you became as a survival mechanism.